Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baharakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS who have taught us this word and teach us this word today. And I want to give a salutation unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is the brother Yatazak Bao with the GMS Nebraska camp. And in this lesson, what I want to go into is, an update in MOTB technology. I want to go into this article titled "New Implanted Device Could Offer a Long, Elusive, Drug-Free Treatment for Rheumatoid Arthritis." And the closer we get to the end, the more that the prophecies are making themselves, are showing themselves, the more that the Lord is revealing in accordance with these prophecies. As the scriptures say in 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 5, "For like as all that is made in the world had the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest." So, when you get into that word manifest and the etymology, it is clearly revealed to the eye or the understanding, open to view or comprehension, evident, palpable, plainly apprehensible, clear, apparent, evident, proved by direct evidence. And for decades, our apostles and elders and bishops have been speaking about these different things. They have been, letting us know that these prophecies are on the horizon, and as we're getting closer to the prophecies coming to pass, as Esau is implementing his gradualism, which is slowly but surely implementing policies, technologies, and things within society that are in the direction of these prophecies to implement his NWO in full, we're seeing more and more application of the MOTB. We're seeing more and more, wars and rumors of wars. We're seeing, the different things that are going to lead to all the prophecies that we've been prophesying about, and more on how it's going to work, more about how it's going to be applied, the technology of it. And this is an aspect of that, so let's go ahead and get into this article and we'll expand on that point. It says the FDA just approved the set point system, which electrically stimulates the vagus nerve to control inflammation from the chronic disease. It says, for years, rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disease that causes inflammation, has often been resistant to treatment. About 1.5 million Americans have the chronic condition, which commonly leads to joint stiffness and pain. Now, I want to make the point right now that, what you're seeing on the screen is the implant, the chip that they're going to use to, quote unquote, fight rheumatoid arthritis. Now, this angle that Esau is using to normalize the chip and to make it appealing goes in line with what we read in Revelation chapter 13 about the miracles of the beast, because what Esau is going to do is, with the use of his technology and ultimately the MOTB, he is going to show that healing can come from it. We see that, people who suffer with paralysis, who can't speak, people who are blind, they will be able to gain the ability that they've lost by way of an implant, which is mimicking the miracles that Yahweh Shai was doing, that the disciples were doing, mimicking miracles that are, that we will be able to do by way of the Holy Spirit, by way of the power that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai will give us, but by use of Esau's technology. So these are the miracles in the sight of the beast that the scriptures speak about. And by way of those miracles, people are going to fall for this technology. That is going to be the reason why a lot of people, run and get this, because, hey, it says that over 1.5 million Americans have suffered with this condition. And as we read on, it says, so far, to treat the disease, patients have been forced to rely on expensive immunosuppressant drugs that leave them at higher risk for infections. So they're saying, instead of you having to constantly get these drugs or constantly have to keep on going back to the doctor, constantly have to keep on taking medicine, all you got to do is just get this implant, and it's going to solve your disease. And as we read on, it's going to go into how. But what we're seeing is that while the Neuralink and the Stentrode and the Synchron and all these different brain implants that have been coming out, they have been pushed to solve more major medical issues, such as blindness, such as paralysis, cerebral palsy, and things of the sort. Now what they're pushing the MOTB for are more minor conditions. And what I mean by minor conditions are things that aren't completely life-threatening or completely life-changing. Now they're pushing it for rheumatoid arthritis. Now they're pushing it for depression. Now they're pushing it for things that more people suffer on a wider scale, but let's read on. It says, but now a revolutionary new device could transform RA care. In late July, the United States Food and Drug Administration approved an implant that uses electrical signals to control inflammation by tapping into the vagus nerve, a pair of nerves that connect the brain with important internal organs. The move marks the first time an electric therapy has been approved for the treatment of any autoimmune disease. And why is this the first time that this has been approved? Because this is the MOTB. This is what Esau ultimately wants for for humankind. He wants to push this upon all the inhabitants upon this earth. When we go to Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, it says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, the scriptures say here in their right hand or in their foreheads because that is going to be the most common places where it's administered. You see people getting it in their right hand, but you also see people getting it in their left hand. You see people getting it in their foreheads, and what that means is basically, just in your brain, in your head. We see that through the Neuralink. But as we read on with this chip that we're reading about right here, this is going to be implanted in your neck. So it doesn't have to specifically be put in your right hand or in your forehead for it to be, accomplishing this prophecy, for lack of better words. It can be put anywhere as long as it's the MOTB and it's, this technology that is prophesying and it's accomplishing, what Esau's enterprise, then this prophecy is coming to pass, But I came to this precept to show that it says he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive this mark. And so for Esau to cause all to get it, he is going to bring a sort of MOTB in all different aspects of people's lives. This is going to open up the door for more people to get the MOTB because he's going after more diseases with the MOTB as the solution. It says free and bond. For Esau to cover, those who are bond or imprisoned, what is he going to do? He's going to administer an MOTB for prisoners. We see that what has been advertised as of recently, there's, something in the works where they want to put an implant in your brain for if you commit a crime and you're sentenced to a certain amount of years, if you don't want to serve all that time, alternatively, what you can do is get that implant, and by use of that implant and basically implanting memories in your mind, you can serve what seems to be years in the span of 5 minutes. And a lot of people are going to get that. Why? Because they don't want to lose all that time, because they don't want to miss out on time with their loved ones. And that's another angle for Esau to push that MOTB on a wider scale of the population. It's going to be pushed on, regular prisoners as a form of tracking, as a form of identification. This is why we see recently there's an article that came out showing that Americans who want to travel to Europe, and not just Americans, it's going to be people from all over the world. But if you want to travel to Europe, you have to put your fingerprint and a face scan along with your passport to be able to enter Europe. And that's what? Gradualism on the way to the MOTB. Because what does Esau want? He wants, tracking on everybody. He wants, he wants what's the word I'm looking for? He basically wants everybody in his system. And right now, it's going to be by use of what? An eye scan, a face scan, your fingerprint. But ultimately, it's going to be the MOTB, because he doesn't just want to surveil you on the outside. He doesn't just want to have, tracking on you on the outside. He wants to be able to be in your body tracking you, to where it's impossible to duck his surveillance. It's impossible to duck his control. And so I'm mentioning all these things just to show all these different facets of life, which these are just a couple, but there are many facets of life that Esau is attacking, that's all funneling into ultimately the MOTB system, which is going to be a centerpiece of the New World Order, the Great Reset, whatever you want to call it. But, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but, just speaking as the Spirit gives utterance, but let's go back to the article. It says, Kevin Tracy, a neurosurgeon and CEO of the Feinstein Institutes for Medical Research at Northwell Health, told NPR's John Hamilton in February that the team first discovered the potential of using the vagus nerve to treat bodily inflammation by accident. Let's scroll down and get to some. It says, with rheumatoid arthritis, the immune system becomes overactive and attacks the lining of joints, causing the disease's symptoms. But the vagus nerve, the team realized, is like an on-off switch for the immune system's extra activity, or like a brake system in your car. That discovery was 20 years ago. Now, after decades of deeper research, a team of scientists spearheaded by Tracy has finalized the set point system, a chip about an inch long that's surgically implanted into the patient's neck, where it electrically stimulates the vagus nerve for 1 minute each day. And we see Esau is pushing it as if this is to help humankind, that like this is a gift, or this is something to help be more convenient, because that's a common talking point that they use with the MOTB, that is more convenient, is more safer. But when we go to Sirach chapter 12 verse 10, what does it say? Never trust thine enemy. Who is the enemy? Esau, the elites. It says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. Why? Because Esau is going to come like, hey, I got this to help you. If Esau was really worried about the people's health, then he would push, the herbs and medicines that the Lord has given us from the earth, because that's truly what is going to solve our problems. That's truly what solves our health issues. If Esau was truly worried about our health, then all these processed foods wouldn't be out here. We wouldn't see all these advertisements for McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A, all these different places. But yet, all of a sudden, he wants to come with some type of implant that you could put in your body to solve your health issues. Now, all of a sudden, RFK Jr. is talking about putting a wearable on your body that you got to wear everywhere to track your health and to enforce better health. That's showing that Esau has an ulterior motive. That's showing that even though he's coming in the guise of helping, it's just Esau, furthermore moving in wickedness. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. That's what Esau always do. In one hand, he'll have a gift out to you, but he'll have the other hand behind his back with a knife to stab you in the back. But let's go back to the article. It says, a set point spokeswoman tells the New York Times that the device will cost less than a year's worth of some current RA treatments, and it can last the patient up to 10 years. So why is this device going to be so cheap? Why is this going to be so accessible? Why is, why are we jumping straight from, medicine that they're saying doesn't really help straight to an implant in your body, when there are so many other paths that a person can take to heal themselves properly? It's because Esau he's trying to accomplish his goal. He's trying to accomplish his enterprise, and he's moving fast, because we hear about Agenda 2030. We hear that Esau wants this system, he basically wants to bring about this MOTB system by 2030, but he's moving quicker than that. Because when we read in this article, let's go down real fast. It says, the device is intended to be rolled out in certain U.S. cities this year and expanded across more of the country in early 2026. With the wearables that RFK Jr. was talking about, he said he wants to do that within the next 4 years. So by 2030, we could see all of this in full effect. We will see all of this in full effect, Lord willing. Because the scriptures say that, let's go to Matthew 24, I believe, verse 22. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened. So not only are days going by faster, but these prophecies are coming to pass at a faster rate for the elect's sake. Because under Esau's supervision of this earth, all of us would be put to death under Esau's supervision. With all these cancers that Esau is pushing, with all this pollution, with Esau's wickedness, the time has to be sped up, and that's what the Lord is doing. But that's about it with the article. I basically the point is out, and I'll leave the link to this article, Lord willing, in the description of this video. But my point, let's go back to Revelation chapter 13, as a matter of fact, because I want to make another point based off of verse 16, where it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And what we're seeing is that, I used to be under the impression that there was just going to be a one-size-fits-all chip that Esau was going to be pushing everywhere, but from what we can see in these recent years is that you see there's all different types of companies that are so-called rivaling companies. For example, you had Neuralink, which was a brain implant company by Elon Musk, but then you had Stentrode that came out, and that's funded by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos, and they're basically trying to rival what Elon Musk has going on. Now, that's what we're fed on the outside, but all these people is in cahoots with each other, because no matter what company you go to, whether it's Neuralink or whether it's Stentrode, you're still taking that MOTB, which is still at the end of the day accomplishing Esau's enterprise. And so what we're saying is that you're going to have chips that look different, that use sort of different technologies, that come in different sizes, that have different abilities and applications on what they can do. But at the end of the day, they're all at the base the same thing, the MOTB. Because let's get this word mark real fast, which is in the Greek Strong's G5480, which is the Greek word charagma. It says a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. Now, that's off right there in that definition, because the scriptures say that there are many Antichrists. And Antichrist is just anyone that is against Yahweh Shai. It should properly really say of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of Esau, or of his beast system. It says the mark branded upon horses. And why would you brand a horse? Why would you brand an animal? You brand it to show that you own it. Just like, slaves were branded to show which plantation they belonged to. Just like soldiers were branded in the Roman Empire to show which battalion they belong to, if that's the proper word, battalion. But at the end of the day, I bring this definition out to make the point. No matter what type of MOTB you get from what company to serve, for whatever application you get it for, at the end of the day, you're still branding yourself as belonging to Esau's beast system. And we're coming into a time where Esau is going to make it very hard to live in society without, worshiping the image of the beast, without taking this mark. But once that time comes, you're going to have to make a choice. When the time comes in verse 17, where it says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. When you can't go to the store and get what you want unless you get the mark. When you can't, buy food or go to the hospital or go to school or get a house without getting the MOTB, you're going to have to make a choice on whether or not you're going to be a follower of Yahweh Ba'ashem Habashai and lean on faith. Believe what the scriptures have said, let wisdom and knowledge be the stability of thy times, or buckle to Esau's system and choose to be a follower of him. And it's going to be a test. The Lord isn't just going to make it easy. There may come a time to where if we don't take this mark, we can go a prolonged period of time without eating, and it's going to feel like we're abandoned. It's going to feel like we have no other choice. But for those who hold on, for those who, as the scriptures say, let's go to the Apocrypha. For those, when it says in Sirach 4:28, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. For those who are in this spirit, like it says, the Lord is going to fight for them. The Lord is going to feed them. The Lord is going to protect them in those times. Make sure that they have what they need to survive. Make sure that they are protected and prolonged until the time of salvation. But what the scriptures also tell us is that those who take this technology, in Revelation chapter 14 and verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Destruction comes with it. You won't receive salvation once the coming destruction comes upon this land. It says, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. What's that smoke rising up? That's going to be the aftermath of the destruction that comes here on Babylon the Great, which is America. Because in the climax of World War III, all these countries around the world who have nuclear technology are going to shoot their missiles over here on America. Upon Yahushai's return, whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus, upon Yahushai's return, when he returns with the angels in spaceships, they're going to have a part in destroying this land. And it's going to be a great destruction. It's going to be burned up down to the foundation. And so smoke is going to arise from America for a very long time. That's what this verse is speaking about. But for those who receive the MOTB, they are going to be caught up in this destruction here. And that's only with America. The MOTB is going to be rolled out across the four corners of this earth. Esau wants to crack down on every single country on this planet. And so while they won't be caught up with the destruction that happens here in America, they will still receive a grave judgment as well. The scriptures speak about in Revelation 16:2, where it says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Just because you ain't over here in America don't mean you ain't going to duck judgment, because it says for those who have that mark that they're going to receive a noisome and grievous sore. And that's speaking about a cancer that is going to come upon them. It's going to arise because of the radiation that's going to come from those from that chip inside you. There's already studies that show that if you have like an Apple Watch, even these phones that's on our person all day, those emit radiation. Well, imagine an even more potent technology that Esau is ready to bring that's going to be inside your skin. That's going to be pumping all type of radiation. And the scriptures prophesy that a cancer is going to come from that. There's going to be major, health problems that are going to come upon people. And I don't mean health problems like rheumatoid arthritis. I mean health problems like death, like suffering. So either way, whether you're in America or not, a destruction is gonna come upon you if you align yourself with Esau's system. If you align yourself And the ultimate show of aligning yourself with Esau's system is receiving this mark. So, just want to make this lesson real fast upon seeing that article. We're seeing, in more and more aspects of society that this technology is being pumped out. And I want to grab it here in this article just for evidence to show what I mentioned earlier. It says, let me see. Okay, yep. It says vagus nerve stimulation is now being tested in clinical trials to manage lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, and multiple sclerosis. One day, the technique might be able to treat other inflammation-related conditions from diabetes to heart disease or Parkinson's. And there's somewhere else where it spoke about, let me see. I'm having trouble finding it right now, but it spoke about, depression and something else that, this technology is going to be used to solve. Yep, here we go right here. It says implanted vagus nerve stimulators have already been approved to treat epilepsy and depression in some patients. So it's going to become more and more commercialized, more and more advertised, more and more normalized, as time goes on. And the gradual, we're just taking steps toward these prophecies coming to pass. The scriptures say that the vision is yet for an appointed time, which is showing that what? The prophecies will happen. The Lord is not a man that he shall lie. This is the Lord's will. And he has it for the set times to come. But we're getting closer and closer to that time every single day, because it says at the end it shall speak and not lie. And how is it speaking? It's speaking by way of us looking in the news and we see it happening. We see it coming to pass. So like I mentioned, soon we're going to be seeing more advertisements about this. It's not going to be something that's a fantasy in movies and TV shows no more. This is going to be something that celebrities that we know are going to be showing. Hey, I got this technology in my hand. Look, I can open up a door with it. I can, I can do this with it. I can do that with it. It's going to be an option that doctors offer to you when you go to the hospital. And eventually it's not going to be an option no more. Eventually it's not going to be the most optimal thing that you can do. It's going to be the thing that you have to do. So Lord's will, we're protected. Lord's will, we keep the faith for us believers. And the message is to repent, turn to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, because the time is coming that only being underneath only being in the secret place of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai and under their protection is what is going to deliver us from these evil times to come. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahabar Chakwadash. I'm going to give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of GMS in the salutation.